bigger than a horse's leg. Now, this is the Snap UK podcast, and I haven't done this for a very, very long time, or that, for a very, very long time.
The fact that we had to remind you how to speak into a microphone would show that.
What do you mean by that?
You don't want to know.
Is it when they go for a drifter? Because I saw you do that last week.
We don't mention that. That's why the Crossfire's still at the garage. So,
Is it shoplifting?
again, that's why the Crossfire's not here. This is the Snap UK podcast. This is our quarterbacks ranking edition 2023.
Way!
Give it some props. And
Props.
it's nice to be back in the driving seat because I have not done this since the post-Super Bowl edition, I believe.
February.
A long time ago. Feels like a long time ago. I've grown a moustache since then. So, for the first part of tonight's pod, we are going to be attempting to reach consensus rankings on the 32 starting quarterbacks for this season's NFL.
I'm not here for consensus. I'm just here for chaos.
Shock on my face. We will attempt consensus. I will say in advance, we know the rookies will be 30, 31 and 32. We'll talk about which ones have got the best chance of success, but with no NFL experience to go on, we must leave them till last. It's only fair. And then we will throw in one or two backups we expect to see throughout the season and why. Because some players are starting injured. Some players are guaranteed to lose their jobs, Baker.
Is it a bad sign that I don't agree with the rankings I did myself earlier today?
You are in trouble with that, yeah. Yeah. It's been a difficult one to juggle. I'm expecting some hilarity this evening from who's got what and where. Sadly, no Gary this evening. We didn't quite make a full house. This is the problem these days. Everyone's got a life, for the most part, and then I'm at work. So, without further ado, I'd like to start, and I will nominate the first quarterback for us to discuss in our roundtable styling. He is the best quarterback you're going to watch in your lifetime. You can only start with Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league this season.
What he has
No. I'm going to argue over you arguing this. Griff is exactly right.
I was going to agree with him. I was just going to say.
Right.
I completely agree. He's number one.
I saw the look of your face. I saw chaos.
I mean, what he has. In
I saw you drafting Justin Tucker as the first pick in our fantasy league.
what he has in talent, he lacks in wife. I'll give him that.
And brother.
Voice. But other than that, he's clearly the most talented quarterback in the league. And okay, you could argue Andy Reid and everything else is perfectly made for him, but he has no weaknesses other than his voice and wife.
If Patrick Mahomes moved to 26 of the other 31 teams, he would still be the best quarterback in the league by a mile.
He's no Daniel Jones.
Move to the other 31 teams, would still be the best quarterback.
I really think so. The guy is insurmountable.
Last season really cemented it because going into last season, it's like, oh, there's no Tyreek Hill. Is he going to be as good? He was better.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fairly short discussion about number one, but I'm glad that we have common sense. I feel it's downhill from here.
Well, the him versus Josh Allen argument at the start of last season just has dissipated because of last season.
That certainly is the case.
He's the sort of player now that if you were doing MVP based on talent, it would be Mahomes every year. The only thing that knocks Mahomes is sometimes he's like 80% of Patrick Mahomes, which is still the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah, that is the thing. How long somebody can keep this up for? You're one injury away at all times, but enjoy it while it's here because this is brilliant.
Yeah.
John, I'm handing the baton to you. You have the second nomination.
So Patrick Mahomes is like, so I think internet parlance, he's God tier. Then I think there's like 3 or 4 quarterbacks you could say are elite, like, at the moment play, in the current play are elite. And I thought the best one of those was Joe Burrow. I think if I was to build a team, if someone asked me to, go on, build a team, and someone already picked Mahomes, the one I'd want next is Joe Burrow. We've seen the difference between the Bengals without him and with him. I think Burrow and Mahomes is the battle in the AFC, in the NFL, that is
It's Brady Payton.
Yeah,
It's Brady Payton for years to come.
I like his attitude. Basically, when he came out and went, as long as they've got me, the Bengals are always in Super Bowl contention. I think that's fucking cool because he backs it up. He's brilliant. He's come back from injuries as well. I think because he's got an injury at the moment, hasn't he?
Yeah, he got
Calf
injured in
injury.
practice.
Yeah.
So it's, I think, another pre-season where he's coming in injured because he started last season on an injury. I think did have his tonsils out before. But it's all these sort of things, and
It was
he's
appendicitis,
I think
wasn't it?
appendicitis. That's it. And he comes in.
Why do you have his tonsils out for appendicitis?
I mean, his doctor's Dr. Nick Riviera from
The
from
Bengals doctor.
Yeah. The only other worse one's the Chargers.
Just ask to Rod.
So that's the one. But yeah, I think there's a couple of guys I could have picked, but I think the best is Joe Burrow.
Does anyone want to argue Joe Burrow number 2?
I'm not going to argue. I just add further credence in the fact that you remember how much of a shit show the Bengals were before he got there.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. When you were harking back for where's Andy Dalton when we want him?
Yeah.
It's keeping Zach Taylor in a job.
Yeah.
It seems so. It seems so. And long may that continue because it's entertaining.
I mean, the Bengals aren't just a one-person team. Like, the defense has been really good for a few years. But, and they have talented playmakers, but a lot of teams have talented playmakers and the quarterback isn't able to get out of them. Like, he's made Jamar Chase a star, T. Higgins a star. Who's that? Usmandoa, the tight end.
CJ Usmanoa.
That's it. Made him a star for a playoffs period before he went into the Jets and did fuck all. So
Does it not make anyone wonder how good could he be with an Andy Reid?
yeah,
Because that's for me, that's a big thing.
You could argue that Andy Reid's only successful because of Pat Mahomes. The Eagles were
Who
perennial
knows?
contenders who couldn't make it over the
That's true.
line with Andy Reid.
but could you imagine? It doesn't have to be Andy Reid, but a Sean McVay, a Kyle Shanahan, someone who's a bit more creative, I think would.
Do any of us believe that Zach Taylor is that? Or is he just riding Burrow coattails?
No, but you've got
Bit of both. I think he's a competent coach. But if once again, if you were power ranking coaches, if he made him your top 16, you'd probably go fair enough.
Yeah,
You're never going to know unless he, for some reason, gets fired, ends up somewhere else.
Yeah,
And if he's
true.
good there without a decent quarterback, then
a good coach takes advantage of the surroundings around them. Matt LaFleur
True.
is one of the most winningest coaches of all time.
He has the highest winning percentage for the first 3 years of any coach.
Yeah.
Big test for him this year.
Jim, you have the third nomination.
All right, I'm going to go with one of my favourites, a guy I always look to draft in fantasy, a guy who hasn't quite made it to the peak of the NFL as yet. Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. I think he is talented both in terms of his arms and what he can do in the running game. He's a great leader of the team. He just needs a little bit of luck to get him over that hump. And he's unfortunate that he's in an AFC with Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow.
If you were making a quarterback on Madden,
Yeah.
you'd make Josh Allen.
Yeah. 6 foot something, built like a brick shit house, can throw a ball 100 miles in the winter and can run through people.
Yeah. The guy's a freak.
And he's never injured.
No, he's not.
Like, both Mahomes and Burrow have had injury issues which have hindered their abilities at times. Josh Allen just probably jinxing him now for the season, but he never seems to be injured. I'd say the only thing against him is probably the cast around him.
He's only 27 as well.
Yeah.
He could be doing this another 10 years.
Yeah.
I didn't have Josh Allen at this position because I won't go into it. I will let it go around, but I will maybe because I think the people that I have ahead of him are about to be called up.
I suspect this is the first place where
Yeah.
I was expecting some divergence. I had him one place lower than this, but I still had him in the same tier as 1, 2, and 3. So
I have him
there or
two
thereabouts.
places lower.
Right.
I think I'm possibly. I'm being harsh on him. I think because the end of last season, it wasn't just the playoffs. I thought the second half of the season, I didn't think he was the Josh Allen that was so exciting the year before. I don't know if I'm just putting the team's failure on him, because I think the team around him have a lot to answer for.
I think that's a big part of it. I think if you put Josh Allen in, if you switch Josh Allen and Mahomes or Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, I think he gets those teams over the hump.
I think if you swap Josh Allen and the people I've got ahead of him, I think you get the playmakers they've got. I think you get a much better player, and possibly. But I thought possibly as well. I thought at the end of last season he looked
Tired,
lethargic and tired.
Yeah.
Like he probably is playing through something, because he looked a little bit slower. It just wasn't there.
Just
I hope.
It's a Buffalo Bills uniform.
Yeah,
That's
they
what
just
he's
need a running game instead
They do need a
of
running game.
it being him all the time.
yeah, and I that's the thing. I think talent-wise, he probably is you could make an argument that actually he could be number 2, but I think there's some players at the moment who are playing better than him.
So, out of interest, the last 2 seasons, 22 and 21, his completion percentage was 63.3 in both years. His yardage were virtually identical, 4,407 in 21 and 4,283 last year. Touchdowns last year, 35, year before 36. Interceptions last year, 14, year before 15. And his passer rating was 96 last year and 92 the year before. Like, the seasons are, the consistency is there. Like, you can see he has everything going for him, but it does appear that the Bills as a franchise is what runs out of steam.
I'm looking forward to seeing this Dalton Kincaid guy there. He's been apparently electric in their training. So, actually, Dawson Knox is fine. But actually,
if Kincaid is closer to Kelsey than he is Dawson Knox, and I'm not saying he's going to be Kelsey, but if he gets closer to that type of pass catching threat, I think that makes that
It's a huge elevation.
Yeah.
huge.
And if you're going by those stats, he's below the people I have 3 and 4. So
There you go.
I'm going to say you're wrong, John, and I've gone with Jim.
fair enough. I know this was. I thought this was going to be the first controversial one.
So I've got number 4.
Paul, who is your nomination for 4th? I am happy to pencil Josh Allen as 3. I couldn't really argue
I
that.
can't. If it was there, I'm not going to
but
argue.
who have you got as 4?
I've gone on last season as the key indicator for this, and the excitement going into this season. Number 4, I have Jalen Hurts.
Now, I know at this table from that little intake of breath there that is not necessarily a popular nomination. I will tell you I had Hurts at number 5.
I had him at 3.
Okay, then Hurts will be our number 4, regardless of where Jim lands with this. But Jim, I'd like to hear from you, because you did admit last year, okay, he's pretty damn good.
But
But
him at number 8.
that's extremely low. Extremely. I'm going to be interested to see who you've got ahead of him. Tell me why the Eagles with Jalen Hurts can't win the Super Bowl.
No, I think they absolutely can.
So
I think the way that the Eagles are set up is perfect for how he plays.
So is it the fact that he has to have a structured team
Yes.
that
I
makes
think
it
he's got two fantastic receivers. He's got a great offensive line. He's got a great stable of running back, or a good stable of running backs. There's no single running back in there that you're like, oh yeah, he's
But they have
top
they
10
have a
pick,
plan
isn't
for
it?
running back, don't
yeah,
they?
absolutely. And he's got a good tight end to pass to as well. He's got everything around him to be.
Does
be
he
a
not
champion
remind
Super Bowl.
other people, and they're not the same necessarily, but do not remind everybody of when Cam Newton was at his peak? And you never ever said, Cam Newton's definitely the best quarterback in the league. But if somebody told you he was number 3, 4 or 5, you'd have said, for those 2 or 3 years, yeah, he is.
I think he's better than even peak Cam.
He's more exciting than Cam for me, because this is a really dynamic team. And AJ Brown. I mean, Cam had some good receivers. These are great receivers.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that he's more exciting than Cam for me. That's recency bias, I think. But I see where you're going. When he takes off and runs, you don't understand how they're going to stop him. You don't see it. And so far, he seems to bounce fairly well. Now, we know the path. This is a well-worn path with quarterbacks of this type. But for me, he's a player I want to watch, and I never thought I'd find that out of a Philly player, to be honest. Because I find it tricky.
When Philly have a fun quarterback, they are, I'm going back to like 90s, but it is.
Donovan McNabb.
Donovan McNabb was fun.
Randall Cunningham.
Cunningham.
Yeah.
Didn't think
Vic.
much of the Kevin Kolb era. No,
No,
just check.
What, that one day?
But yeah,
I've missed this. Poor Kevin Kolb.
Michael Vick.
Yeah, Michael Vick was exciting for a bit.
but yeah,
Do you remember when they had Mark Sanchez at the Eagles?
no,
He shouldn't, but he was there.
but yeah, it's it's bad time, and it's hard. I feel bad when I cast Josh Allen low because what's around him is letting him down when Jalen Hurts basically has almost a perfect situation.
Yeah.
But and it is recency bias, but the Super Bowl, apart from when the one moment the defense got through and hit him, he was brilliant. Like he saved his best game for the Super Bowl.
He was as good as any losing quarterback in a Super Bowl has been.
Yeah.
I don't think they lost the Super Bowl because of
No, they didn't.
Oh, no.
Like they definitely didn't. But
Yeah.
he played well enough to win
Yeah,
by
absolutely.
Yeah. It just so happened the other team had the best quarterback
a mile.
we will probably ever see. But yeah,
And some turf issues.
Yeah, there was that.
but yeah, I've got her. I can agree with Jalen Hurts.
Okay, so far, first time around the table, Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, and Hurts. That's a pretty damn good top four.
That's not terrible.
It's not. I may be about to throw something in here that I don't know. I can see it could be agreed with, and I can also see everyone going, fuck off.
I have to say, I keep moving around my rankings.
I
Very
have
personal.
steadfastly refused to move mine just because I believe you should go with your gut. I'm gonna
Sink or swim.
Yeah, well, this could be sink, but I'm going to go with it on the basis of this year could be epic or catastrophic. But I'm taking Aaron Rodgers at number 5 because this guy is going to want to win worse than he has ever wanted to win before.
I've gone for the same logic, but a different player.
Okay,
I went for Lamar Jackson, just for the exact same logic.
Sure. I've got Rodgers ahead of Jackson, but I've got them both below someone else.
I had Rodgers at number 5.
Rodgers is carried.
I think this is the most intriguing quarterback story in the NFL.
Well,
this
the
year.
team is so good. The Jets team is really good.
I had Rodgers at 6, so couldn't agree more.
Like this, you were just saying, Hurts has got things set up for him. They have tried to build Aaron Rodgers the team. Now, if this doesn't work, he should walk away. But are you really telling me that a man who feels so snubbed by Green Bay isn't going to stand and deliver? I just think he will. I think he is going to absolutely blow some teams up. The wide receiver core.
Yeah, it's
Like,
brilliant.
It's terrifying.
I really think he's unfortunate he's landed in a division with the Bills, but I don't think the Patriots and the Dolphins are going to hold that much of a problem for the Jets this season.
I think
The
Dolphins,
are better than
yeah.
people.
Everybody keeps telling me this, but every year they fail to be any
They got
good.
in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, but were they any good?
No, because they lost their quarterback.
This is the thing. I've never trusted the Dolphins. I've never trusted the Jets either. Now, if you're giving me the choice between the two, I would take the Jets.
Only thing that will stop him being Aaron Rodgers is that offensive line.
Quite
Beckton's
possibly.
already down, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's a permanent fixture, isn't
I
it?
don't think he's ever up.
It will be telling if he gets injured early in the season, will he just jack it in? I don't know. I can't tell you any of these things. I just think the chances of him having an absolute steamroller of a season are very high.
They seem to be in a honeymoon period where he's going, he's being pictured at Taylor Swift concerts. He's
So
I think he's
making of a quarterback, that is.
he's enjoying, I think, the New York glitz and glamour, but also he's there, he's in interviews, he's like, my best friend Sauce Gardner, all this sort of stuff, and I wonder how long that will last before someone starts dropping catches and he calls them out, and they won't have been used to that with Zach Wilson. They won't have been used to that with Mike White.
Joe
This-
Flacco.
And
Give him his full name.
go on.
Mike fucking White.
But like these guys, it's all sweetness and light at the moment. It's happy Aaron Rodgers. How long will that last? And how long will before suddenly, I don't like the old man in the corner of the room now. And he doesn't like these young kids who. How long before he starts calling out them in press conferences like he used to do to Valdez-Scantling, etc. Who I think was with him anyway.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more. I just think the chances is so good. John, the sixth selection in the rankings falls to you.
It's Justin Herbert. I'm a Herbert truther, and I had him at 4.
I have him at 7, so I'm accepting of this.
And I had Herbert at 6, which is where you've got him.
I'm
Yeah.
at 9.
Well, I think you're a fucking idiot.
I tell you what, I tell you with Herbert, in terms of pure talent, yes, but do something with this team this season.
Is that not down to the team, though?
It's down to the
he
coaching.
looks so good.
No, but we've just made a big point about how Kansas City
Yeah.
is all about Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
He should do something because there's enough quality in that team to get them deep into the playoffs.
I don't mind Herbert there because I've moved him up and down in my rankings.
He was one of the hardest ones
Yeah.
for me to place
Yeah.
for the reason Paul's just said. All the talent, none of the results.
If you're going by stats, he got 500 yards more than Allen, and he's got a running game that so.
And he did most of that without Keenan Allen last year.
Exactly. Like he doesn't. He's got Mike Williams, great, which is great. That's it. Keenan Allen's, I think's cooked.
It's gone.
I think he's cooked. 25 touchdowns, only 10 interceptions, but like the defense is letting him down. The rest of the team are letting him
Coaching.
down. It's coaching.
If you were looking at the defensive ends for the Chargers, most teams would like that pair.
You can run through them.
Okay, hear me
You
out.
run
Hear
through
me-
the defense.
Hear me out.
Let's not
Hear me
concentrate too much on that, though.
But in terms of safeties, they've got one of the best safeties in the league. In terms of cornerback, they've got one of the most expensive. So just hear me out before you come in. That defense should be one of the best. The running back is supposedly one of the best. The wideout core at the beginning of last season was supposedly one of the best. He should have done more with them.
And he gave him a 27-point lead.
That's a fair point.
It's coaching.
I agree.
Always been
It is
coaching with the
coaching.
Chargers.
They should have sacked your man at the end of last year.
He
Your
did
man.
He did have a
his name?
27-point lead, but he keeps coming
been
back
too
on the
long.
field.
It's,
Stanley?
Staley.
Staley.
Brandon Staley. Yeah, there you go. Christ, that's been a long time. Paul, I absolutely see where you're coming from. I just believe it's coaching. I think Herbert would win on so many other teams with the talent level he's got. And as it's a ranking of how the quarterbacks are, he's so young and so talented. I cannot have him any lower than this. I'm passing the baton straight over to Jim because we got to keep going. Jim, 7th selection.
It's tough, isn't it?
No.
Okay, this guy I think probably made the greatest upward step last season from the previous season. I'm going with Jacksonville Jaguars,
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence.
I have him in exactly the same position.
As did I. I had him 7th overall.
I didn't see.
What an uptick last
Yeah.
season.
I mean, but
This was the guy we
we
expected.
mentioned coaching for Justin Herbert.
Oh,
Look at the difference a proper coach makes.
what former Super Bowl winning coach makes first draft pick good, as
Yeah.
Paul would tell me.
And we're going
Shouldn't be a
to
story.
talk. We'll talk later about who's going to make another big step up.
Do you remember Urban Meyer?
I'm never going to let anyone forget Urban Meyer.
That might have been our greatest moment ever.
I heard there's a story that came out this week that one of the players called him a rookie coach.
Yeah, that's right. And he threatened to cut him, didn't he?
Yeah.
And it was a pretty senior player, like a good player. Well, not someone who's like, on the bubble.
There was a good player on the Jags.
They've got a lot of good. They had a lot of good players. Urban Meyer just had a shit coach.
Jesus Christ. I can't disagree with this. I think he doesn't quite fit into the upper echelon, but man, he is knocking on that door.
He
now.
gets better next year with Calvin Ridley there as well.
He has the potential to fly past Justin Herbert as well.
Yes.
Calvin Ridley on that team is a scary prospect.
Yeah.
Consensus. I like this.
Yeah.
I love a bit of consensus. There's not even anything controversial to talk about. The guy is brilliant. Jim, sorry, who was next? Paul, were you next? Number 8.
Well, at number 8, I had Trevor Lawrence, but I'm going to go then to either I'm either going to put forward Lamar Jackson or the next person I had in my list, which is Matt Stafford.
Well, you get to pick. Who are you nominating? Jackson or Stafford?
Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
Okay. I will tell you, I did not have Stafford anywhere near this high up.
Why not?
Why not? Because I think he's on the downswing of a career, and you may see him not even start a full season this year.
Well, then the person I had below that, I could put forward.
No, you stick with that. If everybody else
I
is
went
happy,
with Matt Stafford just based on.
Yep.
I think he's still a talented quarterback.
Yeah, that was it.
I think he's still got it.
If you're looking for somebody to get 4,000 yards and 20 odd touchdowns, he's your man.
I will happily pencil it in. I can't. I love Matt Stafford. I used to pick him every year in fantasy. Last year was such a letdown, and I think finally the toll of what he's been through is catching up with him, and the expectation, like they've won, and all of a sudden he's like, I don't have to do this. I don't have to push myself to be on the field and stand in the pocket. He isn't mobile anymore. If he ever really was,
No.
and again, I think coaching struggled last year.
I think the whole team
But
struggled
I
last
don't
year.
think they're back better this year.
I think they're better than last year, but I don't think they're nowhere near getting the playoffs. Not in that.
If you
division.
handed me Matt Stafford and said this guy's your starting quarterback at the Patriots, I'd be delighted.
And that's where I'm going from.
Yep.
Because, and also, there's the one thing that the Rams don't have this year, which they had last year. Nobody expects anything of them this year, and I think that's going to be really helpful.
John, you've been very quiet on the Matt Stafford situation.
I like Matt Stafford. I have no love for the Rams at all, but I'd love to see Matt Stafford still do it, because he's fun when he's.
When he's on song,
Yeah,
that
brilliant.
ball comes out.
And I think
His no-look passes.
I've got him around here. I don't have him this high. I have him around in
So
the
I
top
tell you
10.
where I had him. 16.
Good Lord.
I can make an argument because last year he was awful, and
He wasn't a top 20 quarterback last year.
Do you make the assumption that he's had the off season, he's going to get better, which I have done, and I want to see him better, or do you just go, is this the start of him being cooked?
I don't know.
I'm hoping this is a fully fit Matt Stafford coming into a season.
Do you remember when they won the Super Bowl and he watched a woman reporter fall off the stage and didn't try
He
and
was
rescue her because
so
he was so
drunk,
drunk?
And he turned out she was a racist.
But that was the best news cycle ever. That woman broke her spine. She's racist. Don't worry.
Yes, fine, never mind. Massive racist. So it falls to me to make the 9th selection. My number 8 was jumped, so I will nominate. I had Lamar Jackson. This is for the same thing Paul said earlier. This is the Rodgers thing. It's like make or break. Show me why you keep saying you want these contracts and why you're worth
He's
it.
got the contracts. Now he's got to go.
So
out. He's
now
got to
go and
prove
back it up. Start me 17 games.
That's for me. That's the problem.
That is the problem.
He's, I've said this time and time again. Last 2 seasons, he's started less games than Jimmy Garoppolo.
And it's a massive, massive issue.
It's huge.
I happen to think the Ravens could end up regretting this, but I also think at some point there's going to be one Cam-esque Super Bowl performance, get to the big game season from him, and this could be the season.
That's when he gets to the Super Bowl and gets crushed by whichever defensive
Yeah,
team. It's
maybe, but I think he must, in his career, have that one season, and this could well be it.
Can't argue.
Also, he's got OBJ, which
Yep.
if you get 75% of previous OBJ, you've got a hell of a.
Yeah, but can
So-
he actually find him?
75% of previous OBJ is also going to be better than anybody they had on their team last year. Name me the wide receivers. Darren Duvernay,
Rashad Bateman.
Could say
Mark
Perriman there.
Andrews is their own-
Perriman, okay?
Mark
And then-
Mark Andrews is a
It's
receiver.
And then I
leader,
think
too.
Jim Green was next up on the list. It's been poor. OBJ at 80% is a massive
Yeah,
upgrade.
Deshaun Jackson at some point.
But do you know what they might have done
They had Des Bryant for about a week, didn't they?
That was
That
the
was
season before.
last.
season before?
Well, that just says it all. Like,
Yeah.
The fact that you can't tell me is the problem. So they have an upgrade, and I just think, a bit like I do with Rodgers, there's the season there of this is me, look what I can do. John, number 10.
My top 9 are all gone.
I believe mine.
So have
have.
mine.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this one might be this one might produce some consternation here. 10, I'm going to put forward Tua. I've enjoyed watching Tua play. I think when he, like that Miami team, the downside of Tua is availability, but I think if Tua is available for 17 games, I think he only goes up like the scheme around him is good. I think he's been let down by
His
Paul
body.
He's no, I think Paul. He had a bad injury. The second injury was because they pushed him back because they didn't trust the backups, and that cost him even more time. I think it's the way of modern NFL. There's not enough game time. People are earning a lot of money. They need to, especially in a tough division like this, they need their best players available. But I think I've gone with some sort of rose-tinted glasses. I like Tua. I think for me, he's number 10.
Twat. Unbelievable. I'm going to have to throw that one. I can't. I have to argue it. He's not even a top 15 quarterback.
I had him 14.
I have him at 13, but there is one clearly better quarterback at this
I've
point.
got several clearly better. I would feel if the other three of us can come to an agreement that Tua must be put back on the list for future nomination.
So at 10, I had Kirk Cousins.
As did I.
As did I.
I had Kirk at 11.
I'm afraid it has to be Kirk Cousins. We have to jump the nomination because I can't see that.
The guy got his team to 13-3. I think Tua's going to have a really good season. Hill and Waddle are great. It's a great wideout core. The thing that I think worries me is there's no replacement for Gesicki, is there?
You know, I was just looking at.
Do you need a replacement for Gesicki?
He got a lot of ball in that
didn't last
scheme.
Yeah,
Durham Smythe.
Yeah, Durham Smythe. I mean, Gesicki's on the Patriots now, and no one was excited. So that tells you all you need to
They've
know.
got Tyler Croft as well.
And again, and his brilliant haircuts. I feel that I have to jump that one because everyone keeps telling me, and for about 3 games a season, Tua shows me that he's so accurate and so good, and then nothing. It's injuries or disappointment or a failure to drive down the field when he should. And all these things combined mean I think he's one of those quarterbacks that show me more. Show me more.
I mean, at week 10, I think last season you had him as your MVP.
So he's had brilliant sections. That's what I'm saying. 3 games, 4 games at a time. But whole season, no, it's just not there.
Because to me, I think Tua is he's helped by a incredible wideout room. I think the same can be said for Kirk. I think a lot of the games last year, I'd
say the same for Jalen Hurts as well.
Well, yeah, but
you can always make that argument about what's around them.
Kirk also has the best receiver in football. Let's not forget that.
I mean, you could argue that with Joe Burrow, in maybe not in the same breath, but you take Jamar Chase away from Joe Burrow, he ain't the same player.
Now, my love for consensus, but also my love for contention. I will happily put it to a vote. I'm very happy to put Tua back on the list and say Kirk Cousins should be number 10 if the other 3 of us agree. But I also don't want to, entirely railroad it through. So I would contend that requires to be Kirk Cousins. But what do Paul and Jim think?
I've Kirk at 10.
Yeah, I agree.
I can't. I've got Kirk at 11, so it's not like I'm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I will put Tua back on the list. He should still be on your list for future nominations. Jim, I will laugh my ass off if Jim then picks Tua at 11.
I'm not going to pick Tua at 11.
Who have you got at 11, Jim?
At 11, I've got Dak Prescott.
Who had a much worse season than Tua
I
Tagovailoa.
have him lower.
I have him lower.
I've got Dak at 13. But like all the downsides of Tua.
Yeah. I also
say that for Dak Prescott.
I agree.
I don't agree. I think, yes, he had that one bad injury. He's come back from that. He's had a few niggles, but other than that, he's not had the injury history that Tua has had. I think he's a much better game manager than Tua. He's got more experience. He's built more like a quarterback. I think Tua always just looks flimsy. He looks like he's going to get killed in the pocket. Dak doesn't. And Dak's got a better running game and a better arm.
Who had the most games last year, Tua or Dak?
I'm seeing as you were asking, I'm going to say Tua.
Genuinely don't know.
Let's say it was pretty even, because I could imagine Dak missed 5 games at the start of the season. Well, 4.5 games.
It wasn't that guy who came in and won every game.
Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush, yeah.
Because Tua got 700 more yards than him, more touchdowns, less interceptions, half as many interceptions as Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott got 15 interceptions last year. That's I think I like
Josh
Dak
Allen
Prescott.
Josh Allen had what 14 or 15 interceptions last year.
Yeah,
But Josh Allen got 36 touchdowns.
you know, they made the best of what they've got. I think,
You're gonna hate who my next one would be.
but you know, like Dak's got a running game. It's everything. Like this team, it has more weapons than what Josh Allen. I don't think Dak. I think it was the worst year Dak's had.
It probably was the worst year Dak
I think
had.
if you go
Of-
by previous, Dak is above Tua.
I also think
But I think if you go on last year, I think Tua's above Dak.
Dak going into a season without Zeke is interesting as well.
About a running game.
Dak started one less game than Tua last year.
So unless Tua got 700 yards in that game, then we can imagine that Tua.
Their records last season, bearing in mind Tua started one more game, were identical because Dak went 8-4 from 12 and Tua went 8-5 from 13. So stats and things aside, see this is where I got to with Dak is I'm prepared to overlook one season, whereas I think Tua hasn't ever had a standout season.
I'll tell you, I'm going to put somebody contentious into the mix here.
Go on then.
At number 11, I had Jared Goff.
Oh, I had Jared Goff.
I
Oh,
got Jared Goff at 12.
I had him at 13.
oh, are we throwing Prescott and Tua out and putting in Jared Goff just
Yeah.
to? Because I think Jared Goff's last season made me think this guy's been playing in the league for years,
Yeah,
winning
he
games.
got to the Super Bowl before that
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
Like, he's
I-
got history.
I
he's got
thought he'd
pedigree.
gone and he looked
Yeah.
in the eye of a burnt out career and said, "No, I'm back." Jared Goff. Does that make everybody at this table happy if we say Jared Goff at
I
number
agree with
11?
Jared. I
with
thought
that.
that was going to be
Paul
controversial.
Farrow.
That is an exciting team going into this season as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, they're still going to be everybody's second favourite team. Paul's going to be doing Dan Campbell impressions for us this season on the podcast. Can't wait for it. Do you want to bust one out now?
It needs time.
At least time and cigarettes.
Marble lights are
Oh,
expensive.
I think time and caffeine actually.
Who's nominating next?
Yeah, it'd be Paul next.
Paul next. So you've thrown in Darren Goff. You now get
Darren Goff.
Darren Goff. Yes, Jared Goff. Throw in. I'd rather have Darren Goff than Tua Tagovailoa, but whatever.
Both guys can throw it, you know. I'm gonna go Tua next.
Okay. Well, are we then overruling the fact that Prescott is higher ranked between us than Tua?
Tua is better than Dak.
To me, this is the end of my next rank of players. Like, I think below that, they become much of a muchness, and basically they all become like poorer versions of Kirk Cousins.
We're all in that bit for me already.
So Dak is much of the muchness.
No, I think Tua, Dak,
All right.
and then it's like it's the guys who are playing for their careers.
You've given me, by the stats
Yep.
you've shown me,
They are the same.
Tua had a better season,
Last season.
and therefore going into this season, he should be playing better.
I don't think the Cowboys have got much better.
I can make this very
On
easy.
defense.
No, on offense they've got better as well. They've got
They've got Darren Cooked. Not Darren.
Darren Cook.
Darren Cook.
No.
No one's got Darren
Where's
Cook
all these
there.
Darrens coming from?
The Archer,
Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooked.
That's-
He's done.
He's a 1,000-yard receiver multiple
In
times.
2021. It's not
I can
2021.
I can make
Playing
this so
He's
easy.
been playing for CAC.
I can make this so easy for you because I have the next nomination, and my next nomination would be Dak. So Tua at 12, Dak at 13,
Yeah.
and John, it will be
All
back
right,
to
yeah,
you.
fine.
Right, because we have argued that, and I cannot separate them based on everybody's logic, and that's a fair order. So,
what are we up to,
John,
14?
it sails back to you at
You
14.
didn't want to write Tago Villaloa, did you?
No, I didn't. I wrote Tua. I'm not.
I did the same.
John, we're back to you. You started all this shit off, so try and be a sensible pick at 14.
Geno Smith.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I had Gino at 13.
I think if you're going on what you've done for me lately, he was great last
The
season.
ultimate game manager.
Yeah.
And that in the middle of this pack is worth wins.
Yeah. I think there's more exciting players, but they've done nothing. There's more tenured players who have just shown me disappointment.
I've got one player ranked higher left on my list than Gino.
I have 5.
Oh,
I have quite a lot.
Well, then you guys better make some discussions and nominations.
Give me someone else. Then.
I'll tell you who I've got. The only player I've got ranked higher on my list is Jimmy Garoppolo, who's a winner.
My next selection was Justin Fields.
I've got Justin Fields next, but only because based on what he could be, he's done nothing for me apart from run around.
I have Fields a bit lower.
I've got Garoppolo in the mid
Got Wilson
20s.
above them all.
Russell Wilson or Zach Wilson?
Russell Wilson.
I have Russell Wilson at 21.
I have Russell Wilson at 22.
Yes, he had a terrible year last year. Don't get me wrong, absolutely horrible. But I don't think that's on him. I think that's on an absolutely terrible
Jim
coach.
and Paul, can you consensus tell me and John that you've found someone to nominate over Gino at 14? Because I will happily back John's Gino at 14.
Wilson, Carr, Fields, Matt Jones, Deshaun Watson.
You can't nominate them all.
Oh, right, okay.
I'd go with Derek Carr. I have him at 15.
Yeah, Derek Carr, I've got a 15.
Derek
as well.
Carr is the one I have the other side. So Garoppolo one place
my
higher.
problem with Gino is he's had half a season where he was great. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, he was good, but it was half a season out of how many years career? And the back half of last season, he was at best a game manager, but I don't think he was even as good as that. He properly tailed off at the end of last year.
That's a good Seattle team.
Compared to Derek Carr, who ended the season so well that he was dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much of that was on Derek Carr and how much of that
What
on
do you
them, on them wanting to trade Derek Carr?
They got peanuts for him.
Politics, yeah. Because they knew that everyone knew that they were going to cut Derek Carr. So it's like, why am I trading for him when you're going to cut him 2 weeks later? And I can get him for nothing.
Could you argue Derek Carr was playing for his career and didn't do enough, whereas Geno Smith was playing for his career and did enough, and he got a $40 million contract?
I feel that Derek Carr wasn't given the opportunity with that coach.
I agree with both of those statements. The problem I have in trying to coordinate this is when the things align, I need absolute certainty from people to argue it, and I'm not hearing it.
Okay, I'll tell you who I ranked above Geno Smith. Playing for his career, took his team into the playoffs and won a game.
Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
I still think Geno Smith.
Where did I?
And he beat the guy we've got at 10.
I have Daniel Jones considerably lower.
So I have him at 18.
19.
I have him above Geno Smith.
I can't put him.
Look, as a Giants fan, like whatever, I think Geno Smith had the better year. I think he's in a better situation.
It's a tricky one. I also feel John was argued over last time, and we ended up not too far away with Tua. I am happy to stick Gino at 14 and move to Jim and get him to start the 15th nomination. I'm going with Gino at 14.
Thank you.
Jim.
Well, I'm putting Russell Wilson back in consideration. Then.
Tell me why he will definitely be better this season.
Because he's got a coach who's about 1 million times better than that bald bollock.
Is the bald bollock the second worst coach we've seen
even
after
Payton's
Urban
come
Meyer?
out and said this team was coached horribly last year.
Yeah, he has.
And then came
Meant
out
to
and come back
apologise.
dragged
Yeah,
immediately.
because he's just, better apologise for that. But you can tell he meant it.
Oh, he definitely meant
Oh
it.
yeah.
And we all know how that
We could
no
see
matter,
it.
no matter what Gary might think of Denver, that was a talented team going into last year.
Who've lost Tim Patrick again.
Yeah, that team should have been much better than it was. It had horrible coaching. Russell Wilson was going into last year. We all thought Russell Wilson was a good quarterback. I don't think that changes over a season of bad coaching.
You say we all thought that. I believe I said the Broncos were going to finish last in their division because I thought I saw that coming. I have him ranked lower only because I wonder if his ego has taken a massive hit and he'll struggle.
I feel that might work the other way around.
And this is where I won't stand. This bit in the middle from 15 to about 23, I can be swayed because they're all more or less the same.
This is true, yeah.
If the table will take Russell Wilson and say Russell Wilson is the bang middle quarterback and can get better this season, we will put Russell Wilson at 15.
Yeah.
Paul?
Imagine how angry Gary is listening to
It's for no other reason.
It's done. It's done. It's fucking done.
Can we put Russell Wilson higher?
Yeah.
I only have. I've put him in. He's on the list at 15. I have one question: which of the two quarterbacks we've just discussed, Geno or Russ Wilson, ends with more wins this season? Because I don't think it's Russell Wilson, if I'm perfectly honest.
I don't know.
Because that
Yeah, no, you're right, because the division.
because the division, and that's the thing. That's how people are judged. And if he struggles, if they have a sub 500 season, people are going to say he struggled.
Yeah, I think the Seahawks have got 4 wins when they're playing Cardinals and the Rams.
I think they
Right
should
off the
have.
back.
I think they should have.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Paul, we're back to you with 16, and then we will take a short break as we are 45 minutes into this pod already, and I am gagging for a drink.
Fair enough.
That'll teach me to eat 5 slices of pizza before we started. Paul, at 16, you have gone with...
The next person I have who hadn't been selected was Justin Fields.
I had Fields at 18. I will accept Fields at 16.
Derek Carr.
Nah.
I have Fields above Carr.
All right, I have Fields one place below Carr, so I'm
I
fine.
feel above Carr.
So Justin Fields is interesting to me because he's now being talked about like this guy could be almost MVP level. He did a lot of very good things and also a lot of very...
None of them were throwing.
No, and this is the thing. I am yet to see him be a quarterback. He's a running back with the odd pass thrown in.
I would say that would be my opinion of Jalen Hurts this time last year.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think he's going to have the season that Jalen Hurts had last year. But I think one of the biggest issues with the Bears is who the hell is he throwing it to?
So who the hell is he throwing it to this year?
DJ Moore.
Yeah.
Oh, no. That was the other
that's
fella.
DJ Shark.
I told you I haven't done this for a long time. I just heard DJ and was like...
Chase Claypool is still there.
I want to believe in Justin Fields. I miss the Bears being almost good enough, and then you get to laugh at them at the end when they don't quite make it, like they had with Jay Cutler.
The difference is this year they haven't got the Packers to deny him.
This is it, and
They might.
I don't think so. But I can happily accept Justin Fields because the potential is clearly there. If he can throw half as well as he can run, they are going to be Eagles light, and that could be good enough for a lot of wins.
I think they spent a lot of money on defence rather than, I think. But
Because they had the last ranked defence in tackles, sacks, and interceptions last year.
And they're bringing Yannick Ngakoue, by the way.
Which I like. You can't not like that. Incredible
They got
length.
Tremaine Edmonds as well into that defence.
Yeah. Okay, so Justin Fields at 16.
Right.
That is the halfway point. We will take a quick break, and we'll be back with the bottom half of the league. So coming out of the break, I have the next selection. I'm armoured up. I'm prepared for the fight. I know it's coming. It's Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm picking Jimmy G because his win record is 40-17. Now, he doesn't play enough games. I know he doesn't play enough games, so don't hit me with he doesn't play enough games. When he plays, he wins. You've already told me Tua's ranked higher up this list. So Jimmy Garoppolo, everybody, is at 17.
But I don't disagree with your facts.
I mean, that's good of you. Thanks very much. I like your facts. Go on.
But he's done his own research.
And he's got other facts.
So Fauci wants you to think
Yeah,
he's a good
yeah,
quarterback.
yeah.
You're forgetting the one variable here. He's been playing in a Bill Belichick system, a Kyle Shanahan system, and now he's going to, I don't know, just throw it.
Yeah, I can't tell you exactly how he's going to play this season, of course, but I'm being asked to rank the quarterbacks by talent, and one of the things I look at is, do you win much? And the answer is yes. He does win much.
I mean, to be fair, he got to a Super Bowl by throwing 4 passes.
Are you telling me your arguments win much?
I keep coming back to, if this player that I'm nominated, I would be happy to have them ahead of who I've got at the Patriots, then yes, and I would. I wanted us to have Jimmy G.
Who
back.
you've got at the Patriots, I've got ahead of Jimmy G.
I think
That's an absolute. That's absolute.
I'm sorry, did you have some sort of stroke earlier?
No.
It's
Deadly
called a wank
serious.
in our house.
I can't argue with it.
I just had a noise in my head like somebody throwing a drum set down the stairs when you said that.
So I think Jim conclusively lost the option to argue this.
The next few players, I think, are very much of a muchness.
Yeah.
When it comes to tiebreaker, I go with who's most handsome. And Jimmy G is most handsome, so he's I'd go 17.
Okay, I am penciling Jimmy G at 17, and I am handing the baton to John because I want to get away
So
from this
the
very
next
quickly
one
before
I
Jimmy
have-
gets injured.
Yeah. It's the ugly Jimmy G. It's Derek Carr.
It's all about this middle section.
Look, Jimmy G, Derek Carr, what they are is a poor man's cousins. One's slightly handsomer, one's slightly more Christian. Like that's the only difference.
I watch quarterback. How can anybody be more Christian than Kirk Cousins?
I think Carr is.
I think Carr might be.
Really?
Yeah.
Now on my list, I had Derek Carr would be the next one left numerically on my list. I have one that I'm surprised. I mean I'm gobsmacked because I thought I was going to get absolute pelters, and no one has mentioned him.
Is it Kyler?
No,
Tannehill.
no, it's Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I've got them.
I have. He would be next after Derek Carr on my list. I thought I would have him the lowest out of everyone. I had him at 17 on my list.
I've got them at 20.
I had him at 18.
I have him at 22.
And I got the next nomination, and I am going to put Deshaun Watson up.
In which case, I'm carrying Derek Carr, and I'm moving straight to Jim to tell me why Deshaun Watson is going to have a better season this season.
Well,
And not just because he can't get any worse.
there's that. Obviously, all the things off. I'm trying to put this politically because I can't stand the guy for what he's done or allegedly done, whatever you want to say. But all the things off the field that relates to, they're a year gone.
Why is
Amari Cooper? Yeah, he's decent. He's different.
Yeah,
player.
Well,
But
this is the thing.
I'm saying he's now got a year in that system properly with no off the field distractions.
Before he got his wang out a lot, or didn't,
He was brilliant.
he was a top 5 or 6 quarterback.
100%. Yeah.
I'm gobsmacked. I was the one that had him ranked the highest. I thought I'm going to get laughed off the table here for not having him at the top 12.
I would, but if you look at the like, we're going, is Russ Wilson? Can he come back? He's had good years since Deshaun Watson last played.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
I
the thing.
agree. Yeah,
A
yeah.
That's
whole
the thing.
year, almost a year and a half
18
out of the
months,
game.
yeah.
Out of the game. He came back. He was below average when he did come back last year.
We all knew he would be as well. It's it's
a new system.
There's new system. There's
New
quite
players,
a bit of
new system. Yeah, rust, all that. But he has got genuine talent. I don't think that goes away.
No, I don't either. And I'm pleased that that's coming. As you know, I really don't like the guy.
No one does.
But I'm only interested in where does he fit in this table. If you'd have told me, Mike, you can
This
put
table is
Deshaun
far
Watson
too-
at
far too
19 on your list and be happy, I'd have taken that because the guy is talented, even if he's not necessarily anything but despicable.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
So, Paul, we're over to you for the 20th nomination.
So, the person I had at 20, just trying to understand who I haven't had picked so far.
You've got to be crossing them off as we go along, and you're not doing that.
yeah, that's the trick, you see.
I did it in an Excel, which I can't access on here. The one week I do actual research, it buggers me. The next person I have is Ryan Tannehill. Sorry, no, I'm talking out my backside. Daniel Jones.
I have Daniel Jones at 20.
I'm at 19.
I had him at 17.
Danny Dimes is carried. Tell me quickly, so we don't just steamroll over him, which seems to happen a lot in his life. Tell me what Daniel Jones, the one thing he has to do to be legitimately better than last year, because he was good last
He's
year.
already got it.
Right.
From what I'm hearing, coming out of the Giants camp, Jalen Hyatt.
Looks good. It's camp.
Oh, I know. It's only ever going to be good news. But if this guy is... If Jalen Hyatt is...
Everyone looking at me disapprovingly there from a camp joke. I can't believe that's a thing. Okay, but you think it's other players?
They've got rid of some negative attitude in there. I don't think Kenny Golladay was helping anything.
Kenny Golladay can help himself. Shocking. The fall of that man.
I'm intrigued by Waller. I'd love to see.
And that's...
Apparently, Water's been brilliant.
Yeah.
And also, we had... I can't remember the guy's name, but Daniel Bellinger.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I really like him.
So we've got two good tight ends.
I was glad that Danny Dimes rode out all the negative press and basically said that this is me, this is what I'm good at. I can actually take off and run like, several other quarterbacks. He was as good running as the top other 4 rushing quarterbacks. Like, it was only Jalen Hurts that was dominant over
It's only
the rest
himself that trips himself over.
But and his passing was miles better.
If you look at the people around him, Garoppolo, Carr, Watson, like what has Daniel Jones got that they haven't? It's a proper coach.
Yeah.
Like I think,
I think Daniel Jones has got a proper coach now.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
I think so.
I think he for years he's been stagnating behind different coaches, different offensive schemes. I don't think it helps when you've got a player who wasn't a natural talent. I think Daboll has been nothing but good for New York Giants and Danny Dimes in particular. Still paid too much.
He is paid too much, but that is the price of keeping someone who's got talent. Right, 21, I am nominating. And my nomination is Brock Purdy.
I had him at 20.
I had him at 21.
I think this could be the story for the next few years. Like, how high does this guy go in this system? Now, we all know everybody that the Niners fall in love with gets injured. That's the rules. But I think this is the reason Trey Lance barely ever plays for the Niners.
I think he gets traded.
So do I. Absolutely. I think Brock Purdy is the one. He just looked so calm under pressure. And I think next year, as long as he doesn't get crushed, you're looking at him as a top 10 quarterback.
But that is somebody who got the absolute benefit of timing to just sit and watch the Shanahan scheme and truly understand it, see it in game, and then apply it. I think he's going to be one.
I mean, he's in a system where he doesn't have to be a top 10 quarterback to win. Like, he can just lean on what that game plan offers him and dump the ball off.
It was just the calmness.
And that elite tight end.
Yeah, and the running back.
Debo.
And Ayuk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So no one arguing the Purdy at 21.
I'm good with that.
I've got him lower, but I can't argue it.
Well, I think the only thing with the 49ers is, and you can't imagine, he's coming out from injury, but like, who is the number one quarterback? Like,
It can only be him.
I think it should be him. He's the one that holds it. He didn't do anything wrong last year other than get injured.
It's not Christian McCaffrey. He was a terrible quarterback.
Yeah. But
Sam Darnold's too, isn't he?
Sam Darnold is there as well. Do not be shocked if he suddenly comes through and gets a game and plays really well.
Imagine that Kyle Shanahan can get Sam Darnold to look like a serviceable quarterback, but I think as soon as he does, he'll get traded away to a team that's had their quarterback get injured. Because I think that's what they'll do with him. They're looking at him as some sort of bait for trade.
Sam Darnold with Trent Williams is going to be very interesting.
I really hope it works out with Darnold. Like Zach Wilson, I don't like. I don't care if it never works out for him. Sam Darnold, I really liked. Just didn't work. He just looks terrified all the time.
I kind of want Zach Wilson to do well now Rodgers is
You
there.
just want to see his
think
mum.
he's like, actually, Aaron Rodgers coming to the Jets is probably the best thing that could happen to Zach Wilson. He now gets 2 years to sit behind Aaron Rodgers, learn, and he might actually come out a bit better player.
I'm not sure that's enough time. I'm never sure. Right.
He's just fucking mums.
John, the 22nd nomination for the list. We're getting to the slightly dirtier end of quarterbacks here.
Slightly.
I've gone with the old Cousins, Ryan Tannehill.
I had Tannehill at 24, so I will not argue a nomination at
He was
22.
around there for me as well.
It's all for muchness at this point, but I think Tannehill, like, it's hard to tell with Tannehill because he's been so let down by his back office. They've let AJ Brown go, replaced
A toilet issue.
Yeah, because they keep shitting it up.
Paul told me you don't have trouble with your back office.
But yeah, he's had very little to throw to for years now.
Yeah, that organisation needs a colonoscopy.
What was the stat that you sent me that the coach has more receiving touchdowns than anyone currently on the Titans roster?
Oh, that was before they signed Hopkins.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Yes, of course. But still.
But now they have got Hopkins, and that might help Treylon Burks. But I think the stories of Tannehill being over, I think, are a little
They
much.
will regret moving on from him too quickly.
Yeah,
Will Levis could be great.
He could be, but he could be a massive bust.
it could just be the next Malik
I
Willis.
cannot. Oh, it's pointless.
No,
I
but
can't remember.
you have to give him more opportunity than Malik Willis.
But anyway,
At some point, I will come back to you with the guy that Will Levis reminds me of. There was a quarterback a few years ago, massive arm talent, but he just disappeared because any time he got opportunity near the ball, he just overthrew everybody and looked like
The fat lad at the Giants who's dead now.
No, not the hefty lefty. No, what was his name? I know exactly who you mean. Was the backup? He won a Super Bowl as your third choice quarterback.
He did, yeah.
I cannot remember the hefty lefty.
Jared Lorenzen.
That's
Jared
the one.
Lorenzen. Yeah, went on to be a star at like
he
arena
dead
football.
now?
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, star at arena football. Right, the 23rd nomination, Jim.
It's Mac Jones.
Okay, I had him at 22.
I have one person above him who I'd like to put forward.
Go on.
Okay.
Kyler Murray.
Nah, he's a
I have
dick.
I have Murray at 23.
I've got Kyler Murray
I got Murray
ahead of Jones.
just below.
I don't like Murray. I think actually he's let down by the fact that he's a dickhead.
He's not a leader.
He's not a leader, but actually, like he's a good. He can run with the ball.
Can't at the moment.
His throwing is fine. Like he can throw the ball better than Justin Fields. He can run just as well as Justin Fields.
This is an interesting one then, because I think this is where we might be closely deadlocked here, because we have two players with slightly different, very different skill sets, and then you're trying to decide, well, will they win based on leadership?
Let me tell you one thing that goes into this. The Cardinals don't have a replacement ready on the sidelines as easily as the Patriots. And the Patriots were playing.
But the Cardinals don't have Murray on the sidelines either, because he's not going to be starting the season.
Yeah, but I know we're basically
You're ranking talent, basically.
Yeah, I mean
Winnability.
But the way I look at it is the way the Cardinals are set up. Murray comes in and plays. There's no second guessing that. Bailey Zappi could start on week 1, and you wouldn't bat an eyelid.
I would bat an eyelid, but I wouldn't be surprised if he starts week 6.
Sorry, the people who aren't Patriots fans wouldn't bat an eyelid.
No, I raved Bailey Zappi last season, but they've stuck their what do you call it, flag in the sand and said,
if you can't play, to pay it away.
This is the first one where it's a struggle to separate. So, do you want to go Murray 23 and Mac 24? That's
Yes.
fine.
No.
You want to go Mac 23 and Murray 24?
Yeah, I don't like Murray.
I'm with Jim. I would take Mac only
I
based
think-
on late leadership.
But
Over
if you're taking
Murray.
it on, is he a dick? I agree with you. But in terms of quality,
Who wins
talent
more
at the-
games this season? Because
Mac
I would
Jones.
take Mac Jones
Jones.
6-1.
Matt Jones
because he's in the Patriots as
he's
well.
in
And he's
Patriots.
starting as well. Like, he's starting
I'm
the
Mac
season.
Jonesing at 23.
But if you are going on who's going to win more games, you look at that division and tell me on paper, could they beat any of the other 3 teams in that division?
The Patriots.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah, I think they could.
Their defense is going to be good this year.
I just think they could because they've got such an experienced head coach. But also, the difference with Matt Jones this year versus last year is he actually got an offensive
Yeah,
quarterback.
I think Bill O'Brien's going to be a
I
massive,
think Belichick realised
massive
he
upgrade.
fucked up last
Oh,
year.
hugely. It's all on Belichick.
Yeah.
If the Patriots don't get to 500 this season, like I'm talking like well over 500, if they're not in contention, he'll be gone. He will leave.
It's the Tom Landry style
It
assassination.
is absolutely.
Yeah.
Paul nominated Murray. It's Paul's chance. Are we just putting Kyler at 24 because we had the argument and we
I
might as well do
can't.
it?
If you can tell me anyone better than Kyler, I
can't.
will tell you.
I
you're
can't.
lying.
I would take that. So Murray at 24. Then I believe that's back to me to see what dross I've got left on my list. So Kyler Murray, by the way, loads of talent. If you were just ranking talent alone, he's top 15.
He's a dick.
But
He could be top 10.
He's a massive loser for me.
And as well, I also don't think he lasts the season at that team. I think they trade him.
Yeah, I think he
I
could be
think-
gone by the end of the year.
I think he'd be gone.
But
I
if
think
they are 0-8 and that's when he comes back, what's the point?
yeah.
Like, what is the actual point? You keep him on the sideline, you trade him, you've got the number 1 pick going into next year, and then you get a new quarterback and start again.
Hi, Caleb.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will nominate next. This is where it gets messy for me. I'm going slightly out of my own order here because I've been thinking about it while we're doing it. I'm taking Kenny Pickett at number 20.
He was my
25.
25th pick.
Yep.
He was actually my number 26, but I'm taking him over who I had at 25 now, having thought about it. Kenny Pickett at 25, he still has so much to prove, but I believe in the Steelers organisation and they believe in him. So that's good enough for me to think he gets at least this year as the starter.
If Tomlin believes in him, then I'll believe in him. Because I believe Mike Tomlin might know more about football than I do.
I mean, it's possible. Paul,
Just
what do you reckon, Paul? Because we like Kenny Pickett.
the person I had.
Can he pick it?
Yes, you can. Thank you.
Fuck it.
Unbelievable, Paul.
How long is it?
Unbelievable.
We're out of practice, come on.
The person I have above him, I regret putting above him. So
As did I. John, the next selection is yours.
Jordan Love.
Do you know,
Rumbles at the table.
based on who I have, the other people I have, I actually agree with this because
I think everyone below him is an absolute fucking loser or a rookie. I actually don't. I think Jordan Love could have a decent season. I think he could be in the top. He could be in the sort of Geno position.
Do you
next
think
season.
the Green Bay Packers win more than 7 games this season?
Yeah.
I don't think they do.
This-
7 is...
but this is a guy who's got a clear lane.
Yeah, maybe.
And do you know, that's what I think. That you look at situations where a team have gone all in on someone. At the start of last season, nobody expected Dick from the Seahawks. Geno Smith was burnt out. He was a transitional quarterback, and he kicked ass and got the big contract. There's no reason this guy can't do that. There is talent on that Packers team still.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know it's
And there's still space.
It's a
on there.
generational quarterback that's gone, but like when he came in, he showed he had a nice relationship with Christian Watson, who is a hell of a
Yeah.
playmaker. I think they've got a new tight end. Like it could be fine. I mean, let's not kid. Like the North, like
It's open.
the Vikings. Who knows what they're going to be like? They could be better. They could be much worse. Like they were a one score win team last season. The Bears. Like if anyone says the Bears are going to be better, you could probably go, yeah, no, it makes sense. But then when they don't, you go, yeah, well, we knew that, didn't we? The Lions could win it, but like I don't see it. I think Jordan Love could have a decent season. I think we put him low because we just haven't seen enough of it yet.
There is that.
But I think he
to,
could,
to Paul's
yeah.
point as well, Danny Etling is the most experienced quarterback behind him. He's not really a quarterback.
Yeah.
He's more of a tight end who occasionally played quarterback at college. I will carry
He's playing
Jordan
for his
Love.
career as well because as we mentioned it last week, like if when Rodgers plays next season, the Packers get another first round pick.
Yeah, that's also true.
And,
I will carry Jordan Love.
I'm fine with it being there because it's much for muchness.
You have the 27th
Yeah.
nomination.
My one thing on Jordan Love, and we'll say in sport, if he was any good, why wasn't he playing last year?
Yeah.
Why didn't? Because they could have traded Rodgers away before last
At
year
a premium.
at a much better
Yeah.
premium and gone to Jordan Love.
I don't believe they believe in Jordan Love.
No,
I
that's
think
my,
they just
that's
hope
my
in Jordan
thinking
Love.
as well.
But if I'm there and I've got Aaron Rodgers or him, I'm always going to pick Aaron Rodgers.
If the feeling in the
I
room
think
was
if they-
so good on
if they
Jordan
c-
Love, why is it 26?
If they could have got if Broncos could have paid for Rodgers what they paid for Wilson, the Packers would have been mad not to trade
Yeah.
Rodgers away if they had trust in Jordan Love at that point in time,
Which they didn't.
No.
which I don't think they did.
So-
and I don't see how it's got any better in between time.
The thing that scares me, and the reason I put him lower, is the wideout room. You take Christian Watson out of that wideout room, that's
Turn.
No, like it's Romeo Doubs and no one. Then yeah,
Romeo Doubs ain't great.
there's talent there.
He's okay.
There is talent, but like I say, it's a bit unproven.
Yeah, to remember as well. Like, what did Rodgers hate? He hated young quarterbacks, young wide receivers. There's two. young wide
Effectively, the
receivers
board in Green Bay are hoping this team develops together.
Yeah.
Youngsters together. And it'll either work or it won't, but I don't have any faith in it at the moment.
Huge test for
Jim, 27.
All right, this is again much for muchness, but I'm going to go with the guy who's got the most experience and probably the most talent out of these three. I'm going to go Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. I mean, I had Baker 1 over Love. That's it. Like that's the only way around. Baker is another one playing for his career, and by week 6, if Kyle Trask was starting, would you be surprised?
No.
Nope.
Like, I think it could be over and out, and Baker is a career backup. I was listening to Colin Coward, and he said,
He's never liked Baker.
No, he hates him. But he said, do yourself a favour and retire because you're playing for your job against a guy that no one thinks can really play. You're going to end up as a backup and no one's going to take you and the brand is ruined. At the moment, he can go and be a college analyst. And
Pundit.
I try not to say anal. Pundit. And he can make a career out of that. But
TV guy.
yeah, if he ends up as a career backup, then that's a struggle. So
He did play well when he came on for the Rams last year. He had 2 or 3 games.
he
was
did.
actually decent.
He did. It's just everything that's come before that. I really hope he makes something of it. I don't actually have anything against Baker. I quite like him. So,
But this is Baker. You still got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
yes, you do.
True.
Mike Evans going for a record 10 career seasons with 1,000 yards consecutive.
Yeah, that guy's a machine.
Yeah.
It's going to be a stretch with who they got on the centre today.
All
All right, go on, Paul.
Paul.
So the next person that I have on my list, I had.
Brilliant.
I hadn't put him by this name.
No. Go on. What name would you
What did
use?
you call him?
I had Jacoby.
Elvis.
I had Jacoby Brissett, but we agreed Sam Howell. So my brain got a bit fried there.
I mean, I say I've agreed Sam
Oh,
Howell
sorry,
is 10 years.
Desmond Ridder. Desmond
Well,
Ridder.
that's
He's
what
on
I
my
was
head.
thinking. I was just about to say, surely Desmond Ridder. I mean, he will start for the Falcons. I think he gets the whole season because I don't think they have. I mean, what else are they going to do?
Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, and how many of you guys actually rate Taylor Heineke? Because I'm the only
I rate
one.
him above Desmond Ridder.
He's good enough to dislodge him.
Now,
Good enough to hand the ball off to Bijan.
Now, I like Taylor Heineke and didn't want to say, I think Desmond Ridder might struggle to dislodge him. I think they'll start Ridder. I think he starts the season. And he's another one by week 6 or 7. If they've lost 4 or 5 games, Heineke's starting.
But I'd say exactly the same for Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett.
He's just going to hand the ball off or chuck it 4 yards to a running back.
Or chuck it to this
Or to Carl
generational
Pitts,
tight end
yeah.
they supposedly have.
Yeah.
Like,
Bearing in mind that I have the nomination following Paul, we'll go with Howell. I think the talent levels are similar
Then
between
you're down
Ridder
to-
and Howell.
Yeah, and then you're down to the 3 rookies.
So then that gets us nicely to the 3 rookies. Sam Howell, yes, he's been pushed, if you like, by Brissett, but he's not. He's being trained by Jacoby Brissett, who does that role very well. I actually think long term, because of who's coaching there and the fact that I like the coaching setup, and now that the team theoretically is more stable, Howell's actually set up for more success than Ridder. I don't really rate anything about the Falcons, to be honest. Like you say, generational tight end, but really,
nothing.
done absolutely diddly.
Done very little.
So I'll take Ridder and then Howell at 28 and 29, but I think it's much of a muchness. One of them next year will be higher up this list, and one of them won't be on this list.
Well, the thing is, for me, I have Howell because I think next season it's a new ownership in Washington.
Yeah.
I think they'll want something sexier than
I
Sam
think
Howell.
they'll start again completely.
Yeah.
I don't think Howell will be there. Ridder might be there because he's turned out he can pass the ball to Bijan Robinson enough, and Tyler Algier, Cordell Patterson, and they've got enough wins because they're in a garbage division.
Okay, that leaves us then with 30, 31 and 32. These are the rookies. In no order, I'll just read them off. You've got Young, Stroud and Richardson.
That's the order I got them in.
That is
too.
Me too.
Right. Now, let's just for the sake of it, do this slightly in reverse. Why has everyone got Richardson at 32? Is it like me because you think, I don't even know if this guy can play in the NFL?
That's just it. He's played, 13 games at the college level.
Right.
Something stupid like that.
And he's got...
I don't trust the Colts.
I don't like any of their wideouts.
Yeah.
Thank you. Don't like the wideouts. Don't trust the Colts. I think this organisation's in trouble. I think they've made a false step, and they could be picking number
I mean,
one.
he could be ludicrously talented.
Yeah.
Could be. But you never
But
saw
even if
enough.
he is, he'll be utterly
But
wasted.
who's he throwing it to? Michael Pittman. We discussed that in the last episode. He's not all that anymore, is he?
Who's protecting him? They've been just too much money
Yeah.
for garbage.
Paul, did you hurt your hand or your pride when you just smashed it on the radiator there?
Both.
Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. Okay, so we don't think much of Richardson's chances.
No.
Talk to me about Stroud and tell me which one and why you've got these two the way around you have. I've got Young at 30. You guys have all got him at 30.
Yep.
I've got Stroud at 31. You've all got him at 31. Does it matter? Is there any differentiation between these two that says one will succeed and one won't beyond the franchises they are at?
That's
It's the
key.
coach.
Yeah.
The coach at Carolina. I trust Frank Reich to do what he does, which is
Didn't do it with Carson Wentz.
Yeah, but
we did it with Carson Wentz.
I meant to
at
say
the
earlier,
Eagles.
by the way, Goff absolutely has annihilated Wentz in terms of you both look down the barrels of the gun of your career, and one said, "I will do what I need to succeed," and the other one said, "Nah, mate, I'm off."
I'd rather be Carson Wentz's accountant.
Well, maybe.
I don't know about that.
Okay,
Did a
so
massive contract.
did a
it's
decent
down
contract.
to organisation because the Texans I still can't believe in.
I think they've got the start of a.
I believe them more now than I did
Yeah.
previously.
but it's still the start of a journey. The Panthers are just from a slightly higher height, but it's still not good. But I have more trust in
So
Reich.
we're writing off the Texans and the Colts to some degree with their young quarterbacks because that's young quarterbacks, which gives the Jags a massive leg up. Who's the other team in that?
Titans.
Titans. Thank you.
Titans.
So I mean the Titans. This isn't a team ranking, but the Titans for me are so far below where the Jags are this season
Yeah.
that surely the Jags have got to cruise this if this is what we're saying.
I don't think they're that far.
No, they're not that far behind.
You don't think?
They've got
I
a
think
great
they're
running
well
back.
ahead.
They've got
I
a
mean,
great
you're
running back. They've
well
got.
I
I'm
don't-
not going to disagree.
Jags. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think the Jags.
I'm
were.
not disagreeing with the order. I do think the Jags are better.
I'm talking 3 or 4 games better.
No.
No.
I'm with you there.
So, I think the Titans have a better coach.
Yeah. You reckon?
I think the Titans have a.
I'm not sure they do.
I like Vrabel.
I like Vrabel. Don't think he's a better coach than Doug Pedersen. Super Bowl winning Doug Pedersen.
I think Vrabel can get more.
Pedersen's thrown more touchdowns.
I think Vrabel gets more out of his players than what Pedersen did.
I think they just.
I think the
motivate
talent
different ways.
on the Jag squad is better. That's why I've got them above.
Like I say, it's not really about that. It's more
No.
that I'm just trying to see how much we're discounting the Colts and the Texans from being involved in this, because I don't think they've got a chance of being involved
Oh
in this.
God, no!
But
Be a shock.
I'm impressed that we've made to the end of that and no one's died. By the way,
Yeah.
I for what it's worth, really hope Richardson comes good, because I think it'd be really entertaining.
Yeah.
But
I mean, this is where it's going to be so fascinating because the floor is so high and the ceiling is so high. The only thing he can't be
Floor
is
is so
average.
Floor is low.
You know what I mean?
the only thing he can't be is average. No, it would be glorious failure or glorious success.
Boom or bust.
Yeah, we're looking at Jamarcus Russell or Lamar Jackson. There's no in between.
I think you might be right there. That concludes the rankings, and well done. That's impressive. Anybody want to throw in 1 or 2 backups that we haven't mentioned that you know we're going to see? So Colt McCoy is more than likely starting half the season.
I was going to say, because I've watched Colt McCoy play,
Yeah.
he's shit. So I think we could see Clayton Tune,
You reckon?
because what don't the Cardinals want to do this year?
Win.
Win.
Hmm.
They've got a rookie quarterback playing with no talent.
They got
around.
David Blau as well.
Yeah, but you know what you're going to get with Blau. You can't.
Fuck all.
Fuck all.
That's what I mean.
I think,
Losses.
but David Blau's a player you drop by week 1,
Right.
because you've got Colt McCoy, who is ready to play in the NFL. Clayton Tune is the guy who's going to lose you games, and that's sort of what they want. They don't care. I think Gannon's gone by the end of the season.
Can I throw another quarterback who I think we're going to see on the field? Brian Hoyer,
Where at?
the Raiders.
Possibly.
I mean, that
Yeah.
would be a disaster. But it seems likely because Jimmy G is always
Jimmy
injured.
G's there, and they're two
It's
two backups after
it's
Hoyer.
the McDaniel system.
Yeah.
He's there.
Yeah.
They both are McDaniel players.
Yeah.
So,
Can I also add Stetson Bennett?
Yes, you can. I had that highlighted as well.
Can I add in Gardner Minshew?
who's he playing for?
The Colts.
I think you're nailed with Gardner Minshew then. Richardson will be injured or dropped at some point to either preserve his career or preserve his health.
Where is Stetson Bennett playing?
Rams.
Oh, yes.
I'll put Bailey to pay because I think even if Mac Jones improves, I suspect the O-line might be a problem and he gets injured at some point. And I think they're going to want to see what they've got in Zapay still.
And I can feel a voice from Northampton telling me that Jarrett Stidham will come in for Russ Wilson at some point. Because what's that, Gary? Russell Wilson's done, apparently.
Anyone think there's any chance? Any chance of Baker making it all the way through the season? Was my first guy. I don't think so.
I got
Carl
Carl
Trask.
Trask highlighted as well.
What about this Dorian Thompson Robinson guy? At
the
Cleveland?
one at Cleveland, the UCLA
Yeah.
player.
Supposed to be very
The
good
guy
in
who set
preseason.
all sorts of records.
Only because he was there for about 20 years.
But Watson
Yeah.
Watson could get injured. Watson
Who,
could have
who's
talent
the
issues.
Ravens backup this season? Because there's no way Lamar Jackson plays 17 games.
Yeah, it's the same as it's always been.
Snoop.
Tyler Huntley.
Is it still time?
Pro Bowl level?
Yeah.
We'll see him too.
Cool about that.
4 or 5 other people dropped out. Okay, that concludes our quarterback discussion. We were treated to the Hall of Fame game last night.
Well.
So treated to is rough. I don't have the results in front of me. It's not a real game. I don't care.
Browns
Browns
won.
beat the Jets.
The Browns won with the guy you just mentioned there.
DCR.
TCR playing quite well. And Zach Wilson throwing a dime, by the way. It was like a proper cannon.
But
But he only
that's what he
passed 5
does.
passes.
Yeah. He can do it. We've never doubted that he can't throw the football. It's just that he throws it to the wrong people.
I think it's a game that proves nothing at this point. But
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's always interesting. Because
Pre-season.
It's less than training camp. It's less interesting as well. Like, fucking who cares? Apart from DeMarcus Ware singing the anthem, I couldn't give a shit about any of it.
Do you remember that guy who came in for the... I can't remember if it was the Hall of Fame game or a pre-season game. That guy who came in for the Browns played in OBJ's cleats.
Yeah.
Did this amazing return touchdown and then got cut.
Yeah.
It's like-
Jim wanted us to mention some players we think who are currently playing who will be nailed on Hall of Famers. I want you to do this without mentioning quarterbacks.
I'd like to put one forward. Cameron Jordan.
A good player.
100,
Not first name on my name.
No,
on my
not-
list.
115 career sacks.
I mean, you can't. Is he a compiler? As opposed to, is he Frank Gore?
Entering his 15th year in New Orleans, which has been a very good
Just got a
team
new
that entire
contract,
time.
hasn't
Yeah.
He's
I suspect he probably will make it.
Has he ever dominated the league?
no.
Because we often talk about that for Hall of Famers. So is he within his position? He's been the top two, in the top two at any one period? I like him. I think he's a good solid player, but
That was just the first player who came to my mind because I saw the detail about his contract and I thought, you know what?
I'll give you another defensive player who isn't Aaron Donald because I think that's another
That's
shoe
a
in.
nailed on one, yeah.
Von Miller.
That was the first name
Oh,
on my
God,
list.
yeah.
Yeah. The other ones I wrote down.
Bobby Wagner.
Sorry?
Bobby Wagner.
Bobby Wagner, yeah.
Next on my list.
Jalen Ramsey.
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans will definitely go.
Trent Williams.
DeAndre Hopkins. Now, this is only tough.
Dominant player.
He has been a top 2 receiver in the league.
I mean, could you count Julio?
I had Julio.
See, I think DeAndre Hopkins goes in over Julio.
No, I don't.
Do you not?
I think in their prime, I'd take Julio over DeAndre Hopkins.
But no, I don't. I think I would take Hopkins, but it's a difficult one to argue. For me, I would take DeAndre Hopkins because I always go back to that footage of him at training camp breaking that at the time as they were Redskins players. What was the guy's name? The defensive back. I can't think what his name was.
Josh Norman.
No, it wasn't
Before
Josh
that.
Norman. It was before that. He did the 1-2 step move on him. The guy's ankles just disintegrated and he fell on the floor. I can't think what his name was. It was very famous back when the Texans were on Hard Knocks. But I would take Nuke Hopkins.
I'd like to put forward Jason Kelsey.
D'Angelo
Yes.
Hall.
D'Angelo Hall, yes. Jason
Jason
Kelsey,
Kelce,
yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
He made my list.
Nailed on.
Tucker.
Yeah, Tucker.
Breaks records.
Yeah, that's a great shout.
Travis Kelce.
Matt Slater.
Yeah.
I know he's still
No.
playing. Believe it or not, he's 16th year now on the punt return
Like
teams.
the
and
best,
everything.
yeah. one of the
He
best ever
is the
special
most
team
consistent
player.
special team player of all time. Just the
I
most
mean, he
appearances.
won't get in until like 50 years after
yeah,
his
but they like to shoehorn in the odd one, and he will be the odd one.
OBJ.
Is he? Is he really?
Has he got a ring?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Has he been an All-Pro?
yeah.
Well, yeah, but so is Tyler Huntley.
I'm not sure.
No,
OBJ.
Tyler Huntley's been a Pro Bowl. He ain't been All-Pro.
All
The
right.
OBJ brand
I think
gets it.
I think
but
he's below Julio and DeAndre Hopkins.
so do I.
I'd also have AJ Green in above OBJ.
So would I.
I'd have Tyreek Hill above OBJ. And he's not
Yeah,
winning
it's
wings.
close.
He's won wings.
Yeah.
But
I think when you look at the
OBJ
when
is
you
a
look at the
brand.
you look at the wide receivers that have got into the Hall of Fame. They're all players that either win multiple Super Bowls or they set records.
Zach Martin.
Yeah, we mentioned him. Is that mine?
Trent.
Trent Williams was the other one.
Yeah.
Probably best left tackle in football for the last 2 to 3 years.
Sue.
Yeah, I think he probably does.
Yeah, because
think
he
he's
did
gonna-
eventually get a ring.
I think he's had problems in the fact that people look at him and go, he was a dirty player. And yes, he was. But fucking good.
He was good at being a dirty
Dominant.
player.
Fletcher Cox.
Who is the running back right now who gets in?
Derrick Henry.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I've got too. Derrick Henry, and then after that, Nick Chubb if he carries on.
That's CMC.
The problem is, like, you look at CMC, you look at Chubb, they're very good.
Yeah,
They're easily top 5, but Derrick Henry
he's
was
dominant.
Dominant.
Yeah,
I think, yeah. And then with running backs, it's almost like you have to have had like the league rushing
Yeah.
record.
Yeah.
You have to have had the near 2,000 yard season.
Yeah. And Derek Henry's done that.
P squared. Patrick Pearson.
Is that just like a long service award?
It was, but, like he's sort of defined.
Was he ever the
quarterback
best
role.
at his position?
Probably.
Or was it just so long ago that I don't remember? Because I'm not sure he was ever the best.
I would say probably was the best.
It was kind of like brilliant when Aqib Talib was also brilliant.
Yeah.
Can I put
And I'd have
somebody-
Aqib Talib in before him.
not because of his criminal history?
No.
Can I put someone who's very early in their career, but I think if they carry on,
do.
Justin Jefferson.
It's very early in their career, but yeah, you could see it.
He's outperforming current Hall of Famers after 3 years.
Justin Jefferson over all the other young receivers right now, you think you would take him?
Yeah, I would.
He's the best receiver in the league.
Yeah. That's a tough one because I think it only takes one bad season and they just fall away. But yeah, if you want to be brave and nominate him, I wouldn't stand against it. I think he, like you say, he has broken everything going. So with Kirk Cousins as his quarterback, which is worth mentioning every time.
Yeah, but yeah, no. You sort of at this point you're looking at like record breakers. So down the line, TJ Watt, if he has more good years, could be a Hall of Fame type player like his brother.
Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
Joey Bosa.
No, I think Joey Bosa's just not very good.
Yeah.
I agree. He's not Nick Bosa.
Khalil Mack.
Yeah, I don't think so.
The Khalil Mack that first went to the Bears.
Yeah, but how much of that have you really seen?
If
2 years.
They were
Two,
for
3
3 years.
years.
That guy was one of the best in the
Yeah.
league.
His last 2 years
One
at the
of,
Raiders and his
not
first
the.
2 years at the Bears.
You have Aaron Donald, who's just ruined.
I think
things.
Mack had 4 good years. The last 2 at Raiders and the first 2 at the Bears. And after that,
Yeah, I don't.
Then you're
can't.
looking at like Shaquille Barrett, who had a couple of good
No,
years.
One
yeah,
good
no.
year.
I mean, like, so I don't see it. I just don't see it.
I don't either.
I think this Aaron Rodgers guy stands a good chance.
We said no quarterbacks.
Just think it's worth mentioning.
Okay, just because you think you want to nail one on after nominating a couple of others earlier.
That's right.
Okay, well, yeah, I like it. That's a nice little look at what we think's coming in the future. Whether we'll be around to actually see it, I don't know. Players might play forever these days. They're retiring in their 50s.
Climate change. Going to turn all Kyle Shanahan's now and go, will we be here tomorrow?
Who is beyond... Okay, without picking someone who's won a Super Bowl, who is a Hall of Fame coach currently in the NFL?
he's not won a Super Bowl.
Not won a Super Bowl. Who has, over the next 20 years, the opportunity to do that?
Okay, I'm going to be biased here, but Kyle Shanahan.
Kyle Shanahan was my first one on my list.
Dabes.
Really?
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan, I think, is streets ahead of anybody else.
I just didn't want to pick Shanahan. But the problem
It's
is
Shanahan,
there's a lot of coaches who've won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, there are. That is an issue, but I think so. Another one, I don't think he's won a Super Bowl. This is where everybody tells me I'm wrong. Big Ron.
Ron Rivera.
Yeah, I think if he turns the Commandos,
His record is surprisingly bad.
it's bad. It's bad. He's had a lot of 8-8 seasons
Yeah.
and things like
Long
that.
Service Award.
Yes, but they're always looking for coaches to put in, and there are not that many. I think if he turns the Commandos around and gets them playoff bound and wins loads of games with them, I think he'll get in because people love him.
There are currently 4 other coaches who would be ahead of him in the league right now.
I think he could be out of a job by the end of the year.
And that's the thing. Like with him, it could go one way or the other. But because he's so popular and they're always looking for,
He could be out of a job at the end of the year, but
he's not as talented as 10 coaches in the league. I'm just saying that it would be a one that I think
he's
could
been at
happen.
he's been because how many coaches have had 2 takeovers in their time?
Not many.
That is
I would say,
unfortunate, yeah.
I would say none. I say he's the only one who's ever had 2 takeovers,
Mm.
and they're times when it's hard to manage. I think it does Rivera a hand that he has been in some bad organisations.
He's got a lot out of not very much
Yeah.
at times. And like, I get it. He,
and the story about him is good.
the chances of him ever winning a Super Bowl and putting himself in that position are very limited. But if he did, oh my word, he would be nailed on. He's the most popular guy. Everyone loves him. So I just wanted to throw it out there, a bit like your Justin Jefferson. You don't know, but it could be.
But I don't think Josh Harris will like him at the end of this season.
quite possibly not. It all
I mean,
depends
I think
what
it's
they can set up with.
If they get to the end of the year and go, right, we're completely resetting everything.
He'll be gone.
Yeah.
But he'll be one of those few coaches that gets a third or fourth chance. He'll be somewhere else.
I think he will. I think you're right.
Because I just think he'll always bubble to the
He'll
top.
have like that, that Tom Coughlin role where he's probably not the head coach, but he goes in as some sort of advisor or assistant head coach to a young guy.
Could be. Absolutely. Oh, good. I like that. Well done. Right. Thank you, everybody. That was the Snap UK podcast. That was the Quarterbacks and Hall of Fame edition. And we'll be back a yet to be determined date when we can all be asked to get together. Thank you ever so much and good night.
Bye.